Last year at the OpenX Demand Summit, the issue of duplicative inventory came up. And one of the breakout sessions, one of my peers mentioned that as much as 40% of the inventory that they were seeing was duplicative. So for OwnerIQ, that's a big issue. We do audience targeting through the 22 exchanges we buy from today that we're integrated with. We believe in the channels we're buying in, there's about 100 billion opportunities or bid requests that are available every single day. And of those, we can only accept 50 billion down, so this funnel that we create to get the right mix of inventory. And out of that 50 billion, then we have our own throttling on top of that, and we actually decision on 30 billion that goes down into our, to our buyers on the DSP side. So as we look at that funnel, within the ecosystem that we create, we have retailers and manufacturers that are exchanging data within our platform and activating on that data to create this ecosystem. And so for both performance and reach, to get the greatest access to the most unique users out of that 30 billion opportunities is a critical mission. So one of the first things, this is getting a lot of coverage today, but that we looked at with the help of Ian and my team, OpenX and OwnerIQ working together, looking at ads.txt. About 2 months ago, we saw out of the ComScore 1000, there was 92 exchange or domains that had actually implemented ads.txt. As of last week, that was up to 130. And as we looked at that, we took the top 15 domains in terms of size that we had access to in terms of inventory. And we went and analyzed that over a couple weeks. And what we saw was that there was an average of 32 sellers approved in these ads.txt files and an average of 15 different exchanges. So as a methodology, as a tool on the DSP side to be able to find unique inventory, leveraging ads.txt was not going to be sufficient for us for that purpose. So we then set about, all right, we're going to have to do something on our own. We're going to have to come up with another way, another methodology to do this. And the first challenge is to decide what is a unique ad opportunity. So we looked at 15 different features that come across in the OpenRTB spec through 10 different iterations of those. We found a set of 8 that we thought were very good and helped us to decide what is and is not a unique ad opportunity. One of the challenges that we found was that in addition to domains, we had to go to full URLs. Once you got past full URLs, you had to decide go down to the user level. IP addresses couldn't work because too many of those opportunities had obfuscated IP addresses. This was across all exchanges and was pretty significant. And we had to come up with a set of features that over 97% of the time and 97% of all the bid requests we received had those features, had complete and accurate values at least that percent of the time. Because if they didn't, it makes the inventory look unique when it really isn't, and you have to throw that out of your data set. Anonymized URLs where you're getting google.com or whatever the exchange is, causes problems, make inventory look duplicative when it isn't. We also have issues of certain publishers that always send in root domains instead of the full URLs. So in this study, we then had to say, all right, when we come down with this feature set, what time increment do we look at to decision on? When you look at a 1 second increment, the problem is, at a bid request milliseconds apart, it seem like they're unique when they're really not. And when you then well, people smarter than me said that we could only do 1 in 10 seconds, not 2 or 3, and so I believe that was true. So as we looked at the 10-second increment, the challenge there is for these anonymized URLs, when you also have the root domains coming through, and then in legitimate circumstances like Reuters, CNN, Yahoo that have certain pages that get a lot of traffic. If you're only using user agents because you had to throw out IP address, you do get thousands of bid requests sometimes for a particular page, for a particular user agent. So when we applied this feature set comparing the 1 second to 10 second increments, looking at that inventory, you can see the numbers up here. We had a median of 4 bid requests per ad opportunity compared to 8 in the 10-second increment. We had 23 bid requests per ad opportunity compared to 65, and about 2/3 of bid requests were duplicative compared to 3/4 between the 1 and 10-second intervals. So to understand that, it basically says, a third of the bid requests were for unique ad opportunities. The other 2/3 were duplicate bid requests for those. So in a 1 second increment, you get an average of 3 bid requests per unique ad opportunity. And when you expand that to 10 seconds, it goes up to 4 bid requests that our DSP is receiving for every unique ad placement that's available. So another thing that was interesting that came out of this was we found a practice by exchanges where they are sending the exact same bid request for the exact same ad opportunity multiple times, even within the exact same seller ID. And 2/3 of the time where we saw 2 bid requests for 1 ad opportunity, that came from 1 exchange. And when we get 3 bid requests, half of the time, that was 1 exchange sending us 3 requests for the exact same ad opportunity. You can kind of see the chart here, and the 21 plus is a really long tail that goes out, into the hundreds and thousands. So as we look at this, we basically said, yeah, we have a problem because we don't really want 23 or 65 bid requests for every ad opportunity. We certainly don't want to average 4. These numbers are much too high. And again, we don't have a good control system to make sure that the 30 billion that I can actually decision on, that I'm getting the best funnel possible to get the greatest reach and performance for our clients. And so as we look at this, we said, all right, we need to do something. And so what are the goals? So we decided the right number. Well, basically, we're working on a case study. We're going to be publishing this jointly with OpenX in the coming months, so keep an eye out for that. And in this case study, what we're looking at is how can we pick the right exchanges to buy from for a set of domains. And so we're going to be applying this methodology of choosing probably 2 to 4 exchanges for each domain that we're going to buy from exclusively. Our goal is to make sure that we maintain at least 90% of the unique ad opportunities that we're getting for that domain. We obviously, for our purposes, want the highest cookie match rates possible, so make sure that actually improves in terms of getting user IDs. And other important things we look at are the ads.txt preferences and approvals, URL transparency gaps, where we're bidding and making sure that we're always running on the URL that's actually in the bid request. Obviously, viewability, fraud, win rates, and pricing are all important as well. And that's pretty much it. So I think I went pretty quickly through that. So we have any time for Q&A, if there is any.
We've got one over here, which is, how do you feel about wrappers and adapters propagating a transaction ID in a bid request?
Wow, I'm not sure I even know what all those words mean.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to help you, but honestly, I don't think I'm
just going to be honest about that.
Yeah.
Is this on? Okay.
Yeah.
If you break that down into something I can process, maybe Ian can help.
Sure. So the OpenRTB 2.5 spec has a transaction ID, and the thought is that a container, which gets the single server-side request from a publisher, would then hit every exchange that they call on server-side connections with a common ID for an impression, which may make what you're trying to do here easier in that it's self-declared if you get broad exchange adoption.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. But if I can't touch it, see it, analyze it, and have it in front of me, I can't. It kind of means nothing. It's an idea in the future. That sounds great, but we have an issue right now, and we need to make improvements with what is available right now. And just like ads.txt, if it's not universally implemented, I can't depend on it, because again, then it makes certain things look unique when they're really not. Right, so we have to use features when we make this decision of what's unique and not, that essentially are always there.
Thank you, Greg.
Hopefully, I thought there was another one. Hopefully this is not as hard.
Another one just hopped in, which is, what about mobile? How does your analysis apply to the non-cookie world?
Cool. So we only looked at desktop banner inventory. So that's a big disclaimer about this. We didn't look at mobile web. We didn't look at in-app. This is, as far as our platform goes, that's about 3/4 of all the inventory that we bring in is in the desktop space, followed by mobile web and a very small amount in mobile and app. And so that's really our core focus and what we're looking to achieve out of the case study.
Well, how many times would you like to see a unique impression? Like, does that diminish value, number 2, number 3, number 4? What's the point of diminishing returns?
I don't know if I can go back, but it's certainly fewer than these numbers, right? So I think when we looked at this and we think, between 2 and 4 exchanges, that also depends on the number of sellers that are within that exchange. There can be unique sellers that have some benefits over others. But for us, we're thinking, averages aside, that somewhere between 2 and 4 bid requests per ad opportunity has some merit. Again, for us specifically, a big thing is the cookie match rate. And so, some exchanges may send owner IQ user ID, some may not, and that's not consistent all the time. So for us, for the exact same ad opportunity, that cookie match rate is the key decision maker. Cool, thank you.